The terror. Although you
Bro, I've been talking for the past 15 minutes. I've been talking for the past 15 minutes. I hate this. I literally had a whole point about the current situation in the United States, everything like that. Now I have to restart everything I said. Can you guys hear me now? I've been talking for the past 15 minutes. I'm just going on my phone and I'm testing it out. I'm sorry. That's unfortunate. Alright, alright, I guess I'll restart all my points since I was just playing for 15 minutes. Only one viewer? How many people are in here right now? Who's in here? Can y'all say something? All right, anyway. What are you guys' thoughts on the current situation in the United States? What do you guys think about Joe Biden dropping out and Kamala Harris now being the probable presumptive nominee of the Democratic Party? This is the fun part. Playing as the economy of Turkey, I actually do have trouble trying to figure out how to balance the economy. Yeah. In my opinion, whoever the Democratic nominee is, I'm just gonna vote for the Democratic nominee. Growth forecast. I am going to lower the interest rate to 7%. Everything is fine. Sip soda. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much how I am. We're just gonna start cutting costs. I mean, we can reinstate conscription later on. We're just gonna rely on a professional army. I just hope the weather service doesn't get shut down under a rightist administration. Why would the weather service get shut down? Whoever said the weather service was gonna get hit? That's according to Trump. When did he say that he would get rid of the NWS? They want the states to handle the weather service. That okay? Nuh-uh. There's no way. There's no way that he actually said that he was going to get rid of the NWS. NWS Trump. Spruce Valley. Weather service. Means for your free weather forecasts. The MAGA plan to end free weather reports. Project 2025 would all but dissolve NOAA. So they say that it's going to dissolve NOAA. So the thing about Project 2025, Project 2025 isn't an official Trump policy. The Heritage Foundation creates policy decisions, and they're a think tank. It's kind of like how it's like saying that some vague billionaire like George Soros or something like that is controlling the Democratic Party. It's something that really like it's there, but it's not happening. Like Project 2025 is just a campaign slogan that the Biden administration can use to just say, oh, like, look how scary he is, even though Project 2025 isn't necessarily connected to the Trump campaign. Was it buffering? They want to replace the people in the weather service, not get rid of it. Let me reduce my bit rate. I'm actually thinking about getting different internet soon. I would actually have fiber optic. Meaning that I would actually be able to have a better upload speed. Because I think my brother is live streaming right now. And that is probably why I'm having issues uploading this. He's probably using like the maximum amount of bitrate that I have. Yeah, it's telling me, it's saying YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Open audio. Open widgets. Yeah, it's just saying that I'm not receiving, like YouTube isn't receiving enough. Actually, it's on, my latency is on normal. So I think I should have put it on low. It's not abnormal. Stuff like that happens with political think groups all the time. Exactly. And that's all this is. It's just another think group saying all that. Like, they're going to make policy decisions, but it doesn't necessarily mean that Donald Trump is going to use all of that as policy. Like, it's not a campaign policy. He might draw on some of it, but that's different from actually from someone like Project 2025 saying like, oh, all of this. The only thing is that it took Trump months to be even disavow it until it started to scare a lot of people. Is your video encoding slow? Actually, it's saying that it's okay now. inflation is already down 10 points. We can regularize about 1 million people. How many illegal immigrants do we have right now? Yeah, let's go ahead and regularize. It'll help out the economy a little bit. Once I really stabilize the economy, then we can start launching attacks against the Kurds. What happened? I think the buffering stopped. Yeah, it's saying that my encoder's fine now. Trump Vance 2024. Kamala Harris 2024, my bro.
I would like.
I'm gonna save this real quick, and I'm gonna recruit like 150,000 additional men to the military. Yeah, I'm not voting for Donald Trump. Like, I voted for him twice. Not really liking the direction he wants to go in. I think like I'll be fine during his administration. He's not going to be as radical as someone like Vivek Ramaswamy was going to be, but he's just not my cup of tea, and I'm just not gonna deal with that. So he is just not going to be who I want to vote for. Amen. Amen. Our community manager that is going to be helping out transition with Eversim is in the chat. So the last P and R stream. This is likely the last Power and Revolution stream on the channel, unless GPS 5 sucks. Tariffs raise costs on consumer. How is that a better tax? I actually like tariffing. Speaking of, we should tariff. Who are we going to tariff today? If Eversim wants the GPS franchise GPS Discord, I'll give it to them. Yeah, I sent him an email. I sent LMR a email, and we are waiting to hear back. Contract rejected. Does not appear to be sufficient enough. My interest is to see where the economy will lie. Wonder if I can surplus. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Ukraine, give me some electricity from those power stations that keep getting bombed. 20 terawatts will actually last us like at least 6 months. Until we can get a couple of power stations up. How many? Screw it, we're gonna go for 30. You know what? We're going to do 25 because I don't want them to just be like, I don't want them to just be like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna we're gonna sell this to you, and then we're gonna Russia is gonna be like bombing the hell out of our power stations." So, but I'm glad that Ukraine will be able to help us out here, boost trade relations with them, and boost relations. Maybe we can sell them a couple of weapons as well to use against the Russian invasion, even though we are kind of neutral on the conflict. People's going to struggle no matter what you do, so you should operate under whether it's the least harm or good. Or just vote however you want to vote. You want to vote for Trump? Vote for Trump. You want to vote for Vivek? Vote for Vivek. You want to vote for Kamala Harris? Vote for Kamala Harris. Vote your conscience. Can't remember who said that. It's probably Biden or something. Vote your conscience. Flat tax is stupid, by the way. I'm going to invite the United States over for a meeting. Unbelievable. I'm still in like total shock with all of it. Vote Ted Cruz. Yeah, Ted Cruz did say it. I remember that now. He said vote. Yeah, it was Ted Cruz because he said vote your conscience, and he like refused to endorse Trump. I remember him saying that because everyone started booing him because he wouldn't endorse him. He just said, vote your conscience.
No. I hope.
We're gonna get that to 16, 132, and 28. Let's negotiate that, send that over, and we have it all signed. Good contract going over to the United States, and we will head over to the next day. Who has changed a lot, Ted Cruz or me?
The prep.
One of our
Come on, I hate it whenever it does that. I like how there's just a total debate going on right now in my chat over the viability of tariffs.
We have subdued the rep.
Sip. The election campaign.
Shit, I totally forgot there was an election. I can do a coalition between the UNL and the DRL. Nah, I could do one between the DRL. I don't want to do far right. It would make sense for me to do far right, but UNL, DRL. Wait, it's a presidential election. I don't... Alright, I'll do a coalition. Elections are hard, yeah. Yeah, Power and Revolution 5, Geopolitical Simulator 5, totally throws a total monkey wrench into the entire election tutorial that I had because I was so close to finishing it. And that's my fault, kind of, for always taking so long with my tutorials, but... now I gotta, like, make sure that the game isn't different. That... I don't know. It's just it's fun. $10 million bank transfer. And corporations and GPS 5 buy whole countries. Probably not, but you can play as a president and a corporation at the same time. So essentially, what you can do is that you can have... essentially what you can do is that you can... what do you call it? Have a company run the country because you're controlling both. So, kind of. Depends on how you look at it. Come on, DRL. What's something that I can actually get them to tack on for? Agreement reached. I have to do something one more time to get my party to sign on to it. My party's the only one that's saying no. Name you, okay. That should be okay. Nearly completed. Come on! Agreement reached, agreement reached. Now I have to get DRL on board.
You have put together.
Can I promise them a new... one more ministerial post? Ah, thank God.
Congratulations.
Really? Did I really just drop in that much approval? Wow, my Power and Revolution or my GPS 5 video already have 7,000 views. That is insane. Fundraising campaign, $10 million. Oh, okay. Good, 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 good. 63% of the vote. I hope GPS 5 is fun. Yeah, you'll see it from me this week. Hostages taken in a supermarket. Uh-oh. Alright, gain some time. First hostage situation in a minute I've actually dealt with. Gain negotiation time. Delayed it by 1 week. Get the order to attack.
Let's not yield to the whims of these evil terrorists.
I've never actually seen those things fail.
The assault was a major success.
Okay. I actually talked to the guy that does all these voices. Oh my god, what the hell did my wife do? In the middle of an election, honey? Do you think Kamala Harris has a chance in this election? Yes and no. I think that this... Concealment operation fails, damn it. I think everything that's happening... Another election poll, 60%. Everything that's happening right now, it shows that the Democrats are in total, utter chaos right now. No election has been like this. No presidential candidate this century has dropped out of a presidential election. The last one to do that was in 1968 with Lyndon B. Johnson. This is an unprecedented moment in American politics, and all we can do is watch. All we can do is just watch and hope. If you want to... Nuclear power. If you want to... vote for Trump. Vote for Trump. But I think Kamala would be okay. But I've been begging for someone different than Hillary, than Trump, than Biden. And that's exactly what we're getting. We're getting someone that's a little younger, way more charismatic. Say what you want about her laugh, but like, oh, what like, oh, why don't you want to vote for her? Her laugh. Come on. I want to be hopeful, but reality likes to play games. Yeah. We're maintaining a 60% lead here. We could invade Armenia. Ooh. Historical reference. Speaking of, we should actually make an alliance with Azerbaijan. I want to get an Air Force base there. Once this election is over, we're gonna play for probably another hour, and we're gonna play for like another hour, and I'm going to call it.
Sure. Yet.
You think it's going to be the next Democratic vice president? What do you mean? Are you feeling emotional for leaving Power and Revolution? I felt emotional when Superpower came out. I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to get you guys' hopes up. I don't want to repeat the same mistakes that I did with Superpower. So, if this is it, then yes. I'm gonna go through a lot of thoughts whenever I get closer to the end of this video. I think, wow, we've seriously maintained a 60% lead here.
Good.
And the fun part is that because it's a presidential election, if the coalition breaks, it doesn't matter. It's not going to call for a new election.
We're now going to go live.
It is with emotion and
So you're not going to play 2024? What do you mean? I'll definitely return to Power and Revolution. Number one, if GPS 5 sucks, which I highly doubt it will, if GPS 5 sucks, we're obviously going to come back. %69% turnout. But am I emotional? Yeah, I mean, I've dumped how many years into this? Since I discovered Eversim's wonderful, pretty much masterful depictions of geopolitics, which amplified my interest in geopolitics. It's 10 years. I've been doing this for 10 years. This YouTube channel I've been doing for 8. I've been doing this since 2015. This channel I've had since 2011. Handful of videos, 2011, 2012. Very sparse videos in between 2012 and 2015. And I made one video, 2015, December of 2015. And that was the announcement for Geopolitical Simulator 4. Whenever I made that video, it blew up. It had like 3,000 views within the first couple of weeks. People started subscribing to me, flew right past 100 subscribers. And I was below 100 subscribers whenever I made that video. Game came out. Then I had the idea for a series as Turkey. Turkey is very special. And actually, I was going to play as the United States in this gameplay. And it's very symbolic that I'm playing as Turkey in my very last one. Turkey holds a very special place in my heart for Power and Revolution, because this is where the series started. This is where my channel's popularity started. It wasn't because I was making tutorials.
Good evening. The time has come.
Wait, what? Bruh. It wasn't because of some tutorial I made or some viral video. It was because I made the Turkey series. And I followed up with that with a Russia series and a Kazakhstan series. And eventually I did the United States. January 20th, 2017, I started making a series as the United States, playing as Donald Trump, the incoming president at the time. At the time, I was a Trump supporter. Oh, we got some hearts in there. I feel like I know. I feel like I know who's giving those hearts.
The fundraiser.
but incoming president at the time, Donald Trump, I play as him. And interestingly enough, if you actually watch that video, both the episode 0 and you actually watch me play that series, I actually struck Syria, and I made that video in like January 17th of 2017. And I made that video, and there was a time in there where I actually did bomb Syria. And that's where it all started. Play as Turkey, eventually go over to the United States, and move on, do like 30 episodes of that, I think. And I think I did a Russia series after that. 2018 rolls around, and then I'm making videos alongside Red Eagle Politics at the time. I was making videos with election predictions, kind of like entering the election prediction market. Did a lot of election coverage, covering 2018. 2019 comes around. I interview Louis Marie Roquez, talk about Oversim. He reveals on my channel for the very first time the release of 4th Generation Warfare. And what I miss immensely about Power and Revolution, what I miss is the forums. The forums were so fun to me. I never have had, and I never have been more interested in forums than I was with the Power and Revolution forums. I was very active there. It's where I met my good friend AMN. It's where I met my good friend Gabe Vogel. Pretty much all of the big names that you know in the geopolitical simulator community. All of us met in the forums. We're all OGs, pretty much. And this game holds a very special place in my heart because I grew up doing YouTube, not really knowing what I wanted to do with the channel, and this game gave me a place. I never expected 5 years ago that 5 years ago I didn't even have over 2,000 subscribers. About mid 2019, I had about 1,500. And now I'm about to hit 9,200. I'm just on the doorstep of hitting 10,000 people that are watching my channel. I have a video that I posted 2 days ago, and that video has 7,000 views with over 200 comments on it. I was told by the voice actor behind this game that the video that I made was well constructed, that it was great, that he's been doing voice acting and radio broadcasting for decades, and that my video of me doing this for maybe 5 years consistently in total, that it's about just as good as what he's doing. So I've been having a very hard time keeping up with YouTube. Maybe you guys have been noticing that I haven't been posting as much lately. Number one, I've been waiting for Power and Revolution 2024 to come out. All of a sudden we have 2020, the Power and we have the Geopolitical Simulator 5. I've been dealing with depression for 4 years consistently now. And my boss just texted me. My boss just texted me and said, "Wow, weird day." Yeah. But yeah, I've been dealing with depression for about 4 years now. Um and it sucked. It's something that doesn't give you the drive to do much. But you have friends. I'm never really that much of someone that likes to make friends over the internet. Have trusted people over the internet, and that's one of the hardest things about like being a content creator, is that you have to make these relationships in order for it to work. Your Discord link is invalid. Okay, give me a second. You have to make relationships in order for like your channel to work. You can't really just do it by yourself and not make relationships. I met a girl over a year, almost a year and a half ago now, and I mean, hell, I mean, I wouldn't think 5 years ago that I would ever want to marry someone. I definitely want to marry this one. Maybe in a couple of years, then you guys will know that I'm married. So things are gonna get better. Sometimes you just have to go through a lot. But the point of all of this, of saying all of this, is that this game very much has helped me through a lot. I mean, that sounds so stupid to say, like, oh, a game that, like, where you play as a country, or like, just like, oh, it's so buggy or something like that. This game is very, very special to me. And it's very much been there for lots of my young adult and now adult life. YouTube has been there. I mean, I've been able to stream to you guys, and you guys absolutely enjoy my content. I'm going to hold a stream in a couple of days, and I know for a fact there's going to be hundreds of people in that stream. Never expected that 5 years ago. Oh, promise a post. Crap. It's an unfortunate oversight. Government. Cabinets. So I have to fire all these people. I always like the game despite the bugs. Okay, what do I have to do? I have to go to political parties, coalition. Wait. Oh, I don't even have to do it because it's not even a government. Schism. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. What's most annoying is that Eversim was so inefficient when it comes to bugs because of their communication, but hopefully it'll be much better once they get a Discord server up and running. Yep, that's absolutely where I am. Gabe Vogel in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Jesus Christ. Wait. Oh my god. 375 seats in the parliament. AMN and Gabe Vogel in the chat. Crazy. $700 people just dying. Let's invite Azerbaijan over for a meeting, and I'm going to go ahead and try to open 8-layer force base on Azerbaijani territory. Joe Biden resigned from the race. Yes, yes, sir, he did. We're in unprecedented territory here, Gabe. We all saw that coming. Striking example in non-direction, desired better regime. It would be wise for you to align your goals with those as power, don't you think? Shut up. Or else I'm gonna change parties. Should I just pick change parties and just hold a new can I dissolve parliament? Yes, I can. My party, change political parties, center left, extreme right, socialist, center left, center right, right. Royalist, King Erdogan.
One of our respect.
Front page news for that Russian earthquake. Latakia.
No thanks. I'd be fair.
How so easy. I tried fixing Greece's debt problem and ended up getting kicked out from the EU. I love opening. I love looking at Greece just so I can see how much debt they owe the ECB. Mindscape. Tell me your thoughts on Power and Revolution 5, Geopolitical Simulator 5. What are your thoughts on it, sir? I like going in as Japan trying to fix their debt problem. Who starts off with the most? Economy, total debts. Debt is GDP. Greece. Nope, Japan. Imagine going from like owning like half of the known world and then just becoming a little bankrupt city-state. I'm excited for the corporation game mode. Yeah, what's his name? Average Gamer is not impressed. Average Gamer is 100% not impressed by GPS 5. I'm gonna pull up the website. So I know I said that the game will come out on Thursday. There is a chance it will come out on Tuesday. So the email that I was sent by Eversim this morning was, and I quote, the game will release this Tuesday. THUESDAY. That's how they spelled it. Eli Shelton. Kamala Gretchen. No. Not Gretchen. Do not put Gretchen on that ticket. We don't need a white woman. We already have one woman. 2 women is going to scare off all the white voters. Eli Shelton, where have I seen you before? You look familiar. Channel, go to channel. Have I seen you on like Twitter or something? It's Tuesday. So, yeah, so if it's right and this is just a little French word, we're most likely, instead of seeing it on Thursday, seeing it on Tuesday. So not only are we going to be seeing it, obviously I'll be streaming it. I'm actually, if it comes out Tuesday, that's going to work a lot better because I don't have my next work schedule. But I don't have my next work schedule, but basically I think I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, see? Do I have dementia? Probably. Repeat your question, a commercial interrupted. Oh, what is your thoughts on GPS 5? What was I saying before? I totally cannot think what I was saying before. A heavy fine, my wife. Me literally just biting out right live on stream.
The population affected by the disaster is in a very precarious situation.
Quick question.
Most have lost a lot and even everything and are asking the state for help to survive. So tell me,
I'm kind of hoping for Kamala since she's VP. Anyone beyond Democratic, sorta. Yeah. Because they were going to vote for her at the convention anyway. It's most likely going to be Kamala. If they do anyone else, it's going to be too controversial. Anyone else, I think it would fracture the Democratic Party. Yeah, it's never been so Jover, guys. Everyone always says it's Jover, it's Jover, it's Jover. It literally is Jover. What makes me sad about this, though, like, Biden is so decorated. He's so respectable. He goes from losing his family the month before he's sworn in as a senator of Delaware, lost his entire family in a car accident, and then works his way up to become one of the most notable and powerful senators in the Senate, heads of several committees, including the Judiciary Committee, especially over Supreme Court appointments, including Clarence Thomas, and then gets tapped for vice president in 2008, wants to run in 2016, but then loses his son to cancer, decides not to run, and then decides to go in 2020 allegedly because of the Charlottesville incident. And he said that one spoke to him personally because it's pretty close to home for him. Decorated, I'm meaning like I shouldn't use the word decorated because everyone keeps thinking I'm meaning military. He's decorated by just achievements, just how efficient he was in the Senate. That's what I mean by decorated. I shouldn't use decorated because that's confusing people. But he goes into the Senate. He becomes vice president. Very charismatic, very respectable, he would have won 2016 by much more than Donald Trump won against Hillary. He would have cakewalked over Donald Trump. He decides not to because of the death of his son. He wanted time to mourn. Yeah, he's experienced. That's the word I should be using. Decides to run in 2020. Those questions about his age kind of start to pop up, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now. And then this is how his career ends. Now the only way that he's going to be remembered is that he's going to be remembered as the dementia president. He's going to be remembered as the guy that always fumbled on TV and had a terrible debate performance where everyone in the world was able to see him bumbling, confused, barely legible to talk. That's what he's going to be remembered by. All of the things that he's done in his presidency, supporting Ukraine, the AUKUS agreement, the JROCUS agreement, the Inflation Reduction Act, ways of revitalizing the economy from the worst financial disaster since the Great Depression, recovering the United States from the worst pandemic, recovering from the worst pandemic since the Spanish flu. And that's his legacy, is being dementic. Being a dementia president. That's it. And I feel bad for him. That's... Hey. What are you doing? Okay, where's the nearest Air Force base? Why is there a Russian military jet just circling around our airspace? So, I think it's good that that Joe Biden is stepping aside. Do I think that he should resign? No. He should be able to finish out his term. But I don't know. I can't help but just feel so bad for him that anyone would feel horrible if this is how their career came to an end. Everyone just thought of you as just a bumbling idiot. Trump, the reason I stopped supporting him, I just can't. I can't do this thing where Trump is just whining and whining and whining, saying they stole the election from me. They stole the election. That's how Trump's going to be remembered. That's his legacy. No one's going to remember how bad he handled the COVID pandemic. No one's going to remember him drone striking Soleimani except in passing conversation whenever we talk about Iran. No one's going to remember a lot of things that he did. No one's going to remember, probably won't remember the tax cuts that he initiated, which I'm going to get into that in a minute. But no one's going to remember Biden except for being dementia, and no one's going to remember Trump except for being a crybaby that transformed American politics. Yeah, now he's going to be remembered as the one that almost got killed. Yeah, and the wall. Speaking of walls, I need to think about building a wall.
This theory is...
And what gets me, after the attempt what after the attempt, the thing is that everyone was like, oh, like they're saying that he's a threat to democracy, so that means that they're being the ones that are initiating political violence. I even had a conversation with some guy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, GOP Josh on YouTube, on Twitter. This guy, I was saying like this has to stop. Political violence against both sides has to stop. Trump has to stop initiating it. Biden has to stop initiating it. And then my citation of where political violence by the right took place was January 6th. If you don't think that January 6th was an incident of political violence, I'm sorry, you're dumb. Like, I think that's so stupid. Is it as equivocal as trying to assassinate a former president? No. Doing a riot, busting into a building, and taking a dump on the Speaker of the House's desk? No, that is not worse than assassinating a former president. But what I think is stupid is that people don't acknowledge, and this is one thing that pushed me away from the right, people don't acknowledge how bad January 6th was. 5 people died in that, including a woman that was trying to get into the house floor, and she got shot in the neck and died. Ashley Babbitt. Coco, they want to sell this to me, 5,000. Yeah, actually, we'll do this. We're just gonna ask for a lower price. 2,500, 25, 27, 27, 29. Yeah, Like, if you're not going to acknowledge how bad January 6th was, then like come on. You're not serious whenever it comes to having genuine political conversation, because you want to cover your eyes. And the mental gymnastics that I had to pull in order to justify my support for Trump, and that everyone else does to justify their support for Trump, it's ridiculous. It is a literal cult. And whenever I say cult, it's not like some Branch Davidians cult. It's a cult. They make up reasons about why he's better than the others, even though he is unequivocally not as good, or he's unequivocally just as bad. Do you feel it's normal to start liberal and slowly move conservative as you get older? So this is my political transformation so far in my life. I am 25 years old. I started off as a bleeding heart liberal. Whenever I first got into politics, the reason I got into politics in the first place, I had a brother that was in Iraq. I was knowledgeable about Iraq at the time. I knew we were in Iraq. I wasn't really like I didn't know why we were there. I know when 9/11 happened. I know we went into Iraq. He didn't come home. He ended up being killed in Iraq. After that, it became like a snowball effect where afterward, I just immediately got really interested into geopolitics, into politics. But mostly, that is why whenever you hear from me, I am avidly pro-interventionism, foreign policy, having an active foreign policy as the United States. I think we should limit ourselves. I don't think we should actually police people around, but I think our position in the world is needed. Do I think that you're conservative as you get older? Probably not, because whenever I was younger, about 2014, I supported Wendy Davis in the 2014 gubernatorial election in the state of Texas over Greg Abbott. That was whenever Greg Abbott was elected. By 2015, about 2016, I was avidly into Bernie Sanders. I wanted Bernie Sanders to win. Whenever the revelation came out in 2016 that the Democratic National Committee was attempting to, or creating an environment which was anti-Bernie Sanders, trying to get him to lose the nomination, that is whenever it kind of started to shift over. I had a friend of mine that went to a Trump rally in Fort Worth, and he said, and I didn't figure out until afterward, and he said, "Oh, I know you liked Bernie. I didn't think you would want to go." And I was just like, well, I still want to hear him out. Like, I'm interested in this. I want to go to as many political rallies as I can. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to go, but I started to do some research into Donald Trump. Then I was like, okay, he's kind of good. Did a little more research, and I just kind of gradually started to support him. I wanted to get out of TPP. I thought that I liked his ideas of ending the wars in Afghanistan. He just seemed like something, like, I liked Obama, and I still liked Obama at the time. But I liked Obama. I still like Obama. I liked Obama at the time, but I just felt like that a change was needed. In October of 2016, that tape came out, that grab him by the tape. Whenever that came out, I was disgusted. I didn't like that. Fortunately for me, as a right-winger at the time, I liked and respected women. But at the same time, I thought about it for a second, and I was like, okay, he said it 10 years ago. I see the context of what he was trying to do. And this is where that cultish personality comes in. You see and make justifications for someone because, oh, well, he's just speaking his mind. I get it. Because that's what I would do with that. That's a prime example of like, oh, well, you have to look deeper into the context of what he was saying. It's a flat out statement. He never said that that's what he did. He never said that that's something that he does do. But there is that toxic type of personality, and he does embody that toxic type of personality. So I wouldn't doubt that that's something that he would have done in the past. That he was one of the people that was getting people to do him favors to get a position on a TV show or into his company or something like that. Because frankly, a lot of older generation corporation owners will do that. So that's where that comes from. That's where that cultish personality comes from, because then it becomes, well, you know, I did research and I see I understand where he's coming from. But you have to do that much you have to look that much into it. You have to go down several different rabbit holes in order to be like, okay, I kind of get it. You can't really convince that to a lot of people. That's why people think it's a cult, because it's like, oh, well, he just speaks his mind. Even if he does speak his mind and you agree with him or something like that, it's like one of them was, I could shoot someone right now in the middle of Times Square and I'd gain votes. Number one, that's pretty freaking sad. But number two, it's like, oh, he's just speaking his mind. Yes, he is speaking his mind, but you're running for president of the United States. You shouldn't be saying that. It's not professional. If you think that, for example, if you feel that, and I know I'm tangenting for way too long right now, and I know you guys are just like, just play the game. I'm trying to. Whenever I start getting into these things, like I kind of like get distracted. But it's like, oh, he's just speaking his mind. Yes, he is speaking his mind, but at the same time, it's like, oh, he's embarrassing us. All of this started whenever Donald Trump started to run. Whenever he came down that golden escalator, that's when this started. That's whenever everything started, where everyone was like, oh, everything's so violent, everything is so this, everything is so that. He started to speak his mind, everyone else started to speak his mind. That's the adverse effect of opening a Pandora's box. That is what Donald Trump did. He opened the Pandora's box, and everyone else is speaking their mind. So that's why liberals feel so much more inclined to be able to do things like Antifa. So thinking about that, as the years went on, 2017, 2018, then it came to the kids in cages, for example. Whenever at the border, people were like, oh, well, it was an Obama policy. He had that policy under him. He didn't stop it. And then it wasn't until the media started pulling down his poll numbers, and then he made a change. If he truly cared about it and he saw that, and it's usually a lot of presidents don't really see it until it becomes a big news story. And frankly, the media is pretty biased against Donald Trump, so they wanted to find dirt on him, and that was the perfect kind of dirt. But it still took him several, I think it took him more than a month or so to end that policy. I think it took him a while to be able to end that policy through executive order. And then the kicker for this one was the pandemic. He handled the pandemic terribly. He was saying BS things that were embarrassing to us as a nation. And if you think Biden is embarrassing to us just because he forgets things and doesn't know how to talk sometimes, Donald Trump literally said stuff about injecting peroxide or bleach into your veins. Trump literally said, Trump literally would say crap that just wasn't true. He started to say like, oh, the vaccine is like unsafe or something like that, even though he was the one pushing for the vaccine, Operation Warp Speed. He was basically undermining Anthony Fauci at the time, saying that he doesn't know what he's doing, blah, 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 blah. He had the entire time to remove him from his post. If he was the president of the United States and he appointed him, why didn't he just remove him? He's the ultimate authority. He could have done that. He didn't. He just wanted to sit there and be able to rile up his base. It goes on and on and on and on. And then, I mean, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, this would have been civil war. George Floyd ends up dying in Minneapolis, and Donald Trump is sitting there sending federal troops into cities. And I disagree with this, that people like governors and mayors were refusing federal assistance even though they needed the federal assistance at the time. And they were only doing that because they didn't want to give Donald Trump a win. I think that was extremely stupid and inefficient. And then protests all across the nation, doesn't feel sympathetic at all. He's just like, there's nothing wrong here, even though half the country's burning down. Do I think the riots were justified? In a way, no. But there is a problem with policing. There is a problem with how police conduct themselves. If you don't think that there is, then you're blind to it. A lot of people are going to be watching this in the future and just being like, why are you talking about politics so much? It's Politics Gaming. Shut up. I get to talk about my political opinions whenever I'm talking about elections and doing elections and everything like that. It's the name of the game. I always think it's so funny whenever people complain about me talking about politics on my channel and then do not care about like the name of the channel. It's Politics Gaming. I get to talk about politics and I get to talk about gaming. Purchase. I need to do a major investment in oil production. But moving on, like people were like, oh my god, like this is like tyrannical, blah 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 blah, like, and like for example, like they sit there and they talk about how like Ukraine is like forcing people to go to war. Like you see like videos of like Ukrainian like men 391 500 block list pretty quickly. No, I don't block people unless they're just absolute douchebags. Crap. I don't block people on here unless they're like just being stupid, they're being racist, or they're like just being a douche. Like, so I don't like to do that unless I need to. Because I like to have these kinds of conversations. France, really? I like to have these kind of conversations. If we're not talking to each other, then what's the point? Me and you can disagree with each other, and I'm still going to want to talk to you. Oh my god, 4 simultaneous battles at the same time. Massive battle outside of Zaporizhia right now. Anyway, people are like, oh, like the Ukrainians are like abducting people and making and drafting them into the military, which all of it is a lie. Most of it's a lie, actually, at least. Some of them are legitimate, where you have someone like go in to like the House and say, hey, you're avoiding draft, get ready, you're going to war. That's what happens whenever you're defending your country. It's going to be unpopular, but either that or you're going to be subjugated. In my opinion, it's up to the Ukrainian people. If the Ukrainian people do not want to fight, they will overthrow their government and they will make peace. There is an absolute support for this war in Ukraine, and that's a fact. Anyway, going off of Ukraine, then they don't look at what Trump was doing in places like Portland. Federal officials were going in to Portland and Seattle and abducting people into black vans and just taking them off into nowhere. That was real. That was Trump's administration. There was a lot. He was pushing for the Insurrection Act. At a point, I do think that the Insurrection Act was necessary. But if you're going to sit here and complain about possible tyrannical, undemocratic actions, you need to acknowledge it on your side. And these people don't. MAGA doesn't. And then they wonder why people think that they're a cult. They think that, like, their guy is just completely unable to see consequences. And that's why I don't think that what happened with the quote political persecution, I don't think it's political persecution. Number one, it's not by the federal government. It's not the DOJ that's indicting him on those charges. There's no federal charges being charged against him except for felonies by the state. The state of New York is doing that. There's no federal connection. People are like, oh, well, they had meetings with President Biden and everything like that. That's normal. It's a high profile case. That happened with I think that happened with Donald Trump during the incidents over in Minneapolis. So this is just how it works. And people want to ignore whenever their guy does it and then turn around and say it's bad whenever the opposite guy does it. Trump used Secret Service personnel to clear an area so he could post cringe-inducing. Yeah, exactly. He literally cleared the Washington D.C. What was it? The church? I can't remember. It's the church that the president goes to in order to be. Oh yeah, I forgot the Pentagon was a little military base. It's the church that the president goes to like right before being inaugurated, and then he goes there. He talks to the first chaplain, everything like that. It's a tradition, and that is number one, the most sacred place whenever it comes to protests. No matter what the protest is, that place is always open for protesting. Donald Trump ordered the federal forces to go in and clear that place just so he can pull up a Bible and say, we need God. We need God. We need to pray that all of this will come to an end. Biden does that. Never invaded Armenia. 1 out of 10 stream. It's very soon. I already installed a military base in Armenia. And I get, and this is again where the cultish personality comes from. I get why Donald Trump did that. Because he's trying to make a point about that we need God. We need to pray. We need to focus on maybe reaching a solution. But you did that by beating the crap out of a bunch of people that were just peacefully protesting inside of a church. And even the chaplain condemned that and said, that is wrong. That is against every value that I have. Even the chaplain said that. And, hang on. All right, I was getting a drink. It's past 3 a.m. Buddy really wants me to invade Armenia. So, moving on, and this is the last point that I'll get to, and this is mainly to answer why I changed politically, was the fraud issue. It is within the legal right of the police to place restriction on where a demonstration is located at. Okay, see, I get it. I'm not going to say that's where the cult comes from, but it's justifying bad actions that don't need to be justified. Yes, the police are in complete control of where a demonstration is to be located. Yes, that is within their right. But whenever the president of the United States is the one that's ordering that, is wrong.
One of our
Why leave WTO? It's a meme that I did back in like 2017 where like I left the WTO and then Gabe made fun of me for it. I have a video on it like way long ago. That's not justifying that as the law. Yeah, certain things have been the law before that weren't right. Just because it is the law doesn't make it right. Laws can be changed. Laws are not forever. So anyway, it comes down to the election. And then from the very beginning, he was already saying they're going to take it from me. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. He doesn't even know who the Proud Boys are. And he says, stand back, stand by. And then I mean, they can have the right to do as much as I have the right to call someone a jackass. However, that doesn't mean it's a good thing to call you a jackass, for instance. Using you generally, by the way. And then he was just saying, like, they're gonna take it from me, blah, 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 blah. They wanna, like, the deep state's after me, and they're gonna steal it from me. And he couldn't face the fact that it was a possibility that he could lose because he mismanaged the pandemic. Hundreds of thousands of Americans were already dead by the time the election came around. And he was playing off the pandemic as some just thing that wasn't serious. People were not taking it seriously. His side was not taking it seriously. Election comes around, and then at 3 a.m, and I watched this happen live, people always point out, they show you the vote count from Wisconsin, from Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, and they show you the Biden and Trump, how Trump was leading, and then Biden's leading, and then there's this huge vote jump from Biden, as if these votes magically came out of the forests and got placed in Biden's name. And then what Trump was doing the entire time of the election was saying vote by mail is fraudulent. They're just going to make up these votes. They're going to do all of this, and they're going to steal it from me. So he encourages voters to vote on election day. What happens whenever election day comes around? It is the most turnout election since like 1912. And what do we see? We see vote by mail sways Democratic by large margins that the election day vote cannot keep up with it, because most Trump supporters are going to vote on the day of, or voted early, and then most Democrats are going to vote early, vote on the day of, or they're going to vote by mail. So vote by mail was indescribably skewed Democratic. So it basically kind of was like Democrats were just pulling these votes out of thin air, because all of them were Democratic. Barely any of them were Republican. And then you see all of these people on Twitter, on news organizations. Bye, Gabe. I'll see you whenever I make the GPS 5 video. Election day should be a holiday. Yes, I agree. And then the what do you call it? The Milwaukee County votes come in, and I watched this, and I remember wanting Donald Trump to win. And I voted for him in 2016, and I voted for him in 2020. I wanted him to win. And then Milwaukee County comes in, and for 5 hours, they were saying, these are going to skew Democratic. These are going to skew Democratic. These are going to skew Democratic. Everyone that tells you that these just came out of nowhere, they didn't. All of these votes were known that they were going to come in. They bust them in on these USPS trucks, and they were collecting them. And they show you these videos of these trucks pulling in the mail with mail-in ballots. And they act like, oh, they just pulled them away. Where did those votes come from? They came from the voters. That's where they came from. How is that so hard to understand? They show you these videos of people on one, like sitting on either side of a table, and they show you one of them reading a ballot and then the other one filling in another ballot. What that is known as is ballot transcribing, where a vote might not be legible enough in order to be counted. So what they do is that they make another ballot that is identical to it to basically confirm what that vote is doing. And that's what they do. There's no extra vote being placed in that person's name. These are practices that have been made for years and years and years. Pennsylvania changing their law months before the election, yeah, was not good optics, but it's not undemocratic. There was no wrongdoing. Pennsylvania is completely within their right to do that as a state under the 10th Amendment. So people saying like, oh, they just dragged these votes out of nowhere, they're lying. They're lying, or they just did not, they were asleep the entire time. I stayed up until 5 a.m. watching these elections, and that's what they were saying. They were saying they're going to skew Democratic. They're going to skew Democratic. And then what happens at 5 a.m. in Wisconsin? Wisconsin completely shifts over and goes Democratic. Ends up voting for Joe Biden. So what we saw was known as a red mirage, where it looked good for Donald Trump, and then all of a sudden, everything kind of shifts back over to the Democrats. And then Donald Trump can't take the loss, so he says, frankly, we did win this election. Skip, all the way up. Sad that I never saw the invasion of Armenia. Maybe in the next one, I'll play as Armenia and we'll invade Turkey. Skip all the way up to January. And he's saying this over and 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 over. And he's saying it again and again and again. What do you think happens whenever you drill this into people's minds that an election is being stolen from them, that their Democratic votes did not matter? Frankly, it kind of sounds like the argument against the Electoral College. What do you think is going to happen whenever you drill this into people's minds that something is bad, that something bad is happening? People now, Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives, feel like that they're fighting a moral crusade. Democrats feel like they're fighting against fascism. Republicans feel like they're fighting against George Soros and pedophiles. Everyone thinks they're fighting a moral crusade, and people took it upon themselves to do something about it. What happens and what does that culminate in? January 6th. January 6th is a culmination of Donald Trump sowing discontent in the election system to the point that people tried to do something about it. Did Donald Trump ask for those people to do that day? No, he didn't. He didn't tell them to go and raid the Capitol. He never said that. He said, we're going to march over there and peacefully make our voices heard. He never, ever, ever implied or said that go over there and raid the Capitol. He never said that. But he implied it. He didn't apply it. He sowed so much discontent over years and years and years, or months and months and weeks and weeks and weeks, that people felt like they needed to stop this. People felt like that the country was going to hell in a handbasket. If you feel like that you can stop something from happening, you're going to try to stop it. That's what they tried to do on January 6th. So it wasn't because Trump was trying to tell them to go do it, to do a self-coup, but it could have turned into a self-coup. Somewhat, because, I mean, it would have gotten quashed just like that. And then people say they were just walking around the Capitol. They were just peacefully walking around being like, it's like a tour. What was happening outside of the gates? What was happening outside of those doors that made them walk around the Capitol building, sit inside of the House of Representatives, and just sit there and occupy the legislative chamber of the United States? They were fighting. They were bashing cops' heads in with fire extinguishers. They were beating up cops into the Capitol building. They were breaking windows. They broke in physically into the Capitol. They scaled walls. That was not peaceful. Yes, they were peacefully walking around the Capitol building, but you ignore the footage that was outside of those walls. What was happening that made them be able to go in there and just walk around. The cops had two options in order to do something, in order to protect the Capitol. Either A, they could have just continued to fight, call in the National Guard in there and have a physical altercation all across the Capitol building, or they could just let them in, open the doors, let them do their thing. They knew they weren't going there to do something, to do anything. And plus, like, even if they were, like, as soon as they left or were apprehended, then go on with the process. But it was violence, and Trump is at fault for sowing that discontent. Did he call for it to happen? No. But that is what happens whenever you continuously sow discontent to the point where you feel like something has to happen. PG, what will you do? And that's it. I'm gonna stop because I've been talking about this for like 45 minutes. PG, what will you do if Trump wins in November? Wait 4 years until the next guy runs. I don't think Trump's going to ruin this country in 4 years. Obviously, he didn't do that much in his first 4. I don't think it's going to be that bad. JD Vance is okay. I don't think he really adds that much to the ticket. Kamala Harris becoming the Democratic nominee, or at least Joe Biden withdrawing from the election, does shake things up a bit, and I need a little bit to be able to ascertain how this is going to go. So, we'll see. But I don't think anything big is going to happen under a Donald Trump presidency. Whoa, wait, Biden withdrew? Wait, what? Buddy, this has been the biggest news story of the day. Yeah. President Biden withdrew his candidacy for the president of the United States. That is not a joke. That is real. He's the very first president since Lyndon B. Johnson in 1968 to withdraw his active bid as the sitting president of the United States, as someone that was eligible to become to be reelected. This is probably the biggest evolution of politics in decades, at least in this century, in this millennia so far. So this is huge. This completely changes the dynamic of the election, because now everyone was saying, I don't want Biden. Both of them are too old. Now we have some 60-year-old white black woman that is black Asian woman that is way more charismatic than Donald Trump. Well, both of them are actually very charismatic. The worst thing I hear about Kamala's personality is that her laugh sucks. I wonder if that'll help the Dems or hurt them. I think all of this is hurting the Democrats. If you don't think that this isn't hurting the Democrats, you're denying everything. Because this is hurting them massively. Because all people see right now is chaos. That is what the Democrats are under right now. They're in chaos. They're in so much chaos that they had to push the current sitting president out of the race. All of them had to. Yeah. At least he kills the story of Biden is too old and gets them unified. Yeah, it gets them unified behind a woman. Me personally, I think it'll be cool to have a woman president. Lots of civil unrest right next to me.
Given that it is
I think we'll know for sure how this is going to go in about a month. I think this is way too fresh in order to make a solid assumption about how this election is going to go. Everyone was saying they just handed Trump the election after the assassination attempt and Biden's still staying in a race. Yeah, that was pretty much handing him the election. A new nominee, I think it changes everything. Oh crap, I need to do some cyber security. Georgia.
it's awful.
Nothing is certain in politics, yeah. Yeah, nothing is certain. I like how Buddy just found out that Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race on a politics gaming stream. Mom! Politics Gaming told me that Joe Biden dropped out of the race. Yeah. I do hope, because if she's a part of the debate, she'll actually answer the answers instead of taking verbal jabs at Trump. Yeah, that is what I'm actually really excited about, is that we're finally going to get someone that's not going to be just sitting there making direct jabs. They're going to be talking about the record. Now, what Kamala is very vulnerable to is law and order. I actually heard someone on the news earlier say she can actually make herself, because she was an attorney general, she was a senator, she was a district attorney in California. She's very vulnerable whenever it comes to black crime and how criminal justice is dealt with, because there's confirmation of this, and this is pretty much what ended her 2020 campaign, that in sometime like in like 20 years ago or something like that, she was a district attorney in California, in San Francisco, and basically she prosecuted a man for smoking marijuana and had laughed about it whenever she was asked about it. And that is very, very vulnerable for her. She's going to have a lot to prove whenever it comes to her record, her experience, because I think she was only like a one-term senator at the time. She has a glass jaw. She has a glass jaw. Tulsi destroyed her. That's exactly, because they're going to be blasting that in ads all over the place. You're not going to hear the end of it. That is extremely vulnerable for her. But I think what really goes for her is that she's not old, she's not Donald Trump, and she's not Joe Biden. That fact alone, and she's a woman, which, her being a woman, is a turnoff for white voters, but is a absolute approval from younger voters, because then, I think it'll be beneficial for her, for younger liberal voters. So we'll know very soon about where this is going to go. I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. I've been streaming for about 2 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and end it right here, guys. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you guys like this final Power and Revolution live stream, let me know you guys' thoughts down below. Sorry for ranting about politics and my political development in the last like 8 years. At least I'm sorry for ranting about it for 45 minutes. Why does the title say last Power and Revolution stream? Because GPS 5 comes out on Tuesday. So if everything goes good and the game isn't trash, then this is the last one. This is the finale to all Power and Revolution streams. And hopefully we will be able to move on and go into something better. I am very excited for how the map is going to look. The fact that we have a brand new map, just stopping looking at this ugly screen that I've been staring at since Masters of the World, exciting. It has been a pleasure playing Power and Revolution for the last almost decade. This game holds a very special place in my heart. And I would not be here today talking to you guys, nearly 10,000 subscribers. I would not be here today if it wasn't for Power and Revolution. This game will always hold a very special place in my heart. and it is time to bid farewell. You've done so great being the best geopolitical simulator of all time. And hopefully, Geopolitical Simulator 5, despite the short notice announcement, which is very worrying, and I'm very worried about this release. I'm really hoping, I have very high hopes, but I'm not going to be too excited until I get my hands on it and we start live streaming it, and then be able to get an actual idea of where we're going to be at. So, farewell, Power and Revolution, and what better way to end it than playing as Turkey? Thank you guys so much for watching this with me. Thank you guys so much for being here with me for the last nearly decade, watching Power and Revolution streams, videos, series, everything. And I'll see you guys in the next video on Geopolitical Simulator 5, the next iteration of Power and Revolution.